top 10 animes like Sword Art Online. Sword Art Online is by far the most popular isekai anime there is. It is the very definition of mainstream and is almost always amongst the top 5 most popular animes on anime databases. Now, there are also a lot of other animes that share the same features, some are even better. And today we'll be talking about those animes, the top 10 animes like Sword Art Online. You guys have an exciting list to look forward to, especially the top 5, so don't be missing out on those, alright? Now, make sure you push that like and subscribe button, alright? Done it? Okay.
Hi! ちょっとその名前連呼しないで知り合いに見られた
The first one on our list is number 10. And you thought there is never a girl online? After bracing himself and finally confessing to the girl he likes in an online game, Hideki Nishimura falls into despair when the girl not only rejects him, but also tells him that she is a man in real life. Devastated, Hideki makes the decision to never trust a girl in an online game ever again. And now that years have passed since that tragic moment, he is in a guild together with 3 other players. One of them uses a female avatar and also happens to have fall in love with Hideki. He considers the possibility that she might also turn out to be a guy, but ultimately ends up accepting her proposal. And then, when an upcoming offline meeting with his guild members take place, how will things turn out?
やっぱりみんなには内緒の方が
ネットじゃよくある話だろ気にすんな
ありがとうございます大好きです炎よ来たれ赤の秀樹イグニスファイヤー
Number 9. In another world with my smartphone. The main character named Toya unfortunately ends up dead because of an unexpected lightning strike, but later, as it turns out, his death was an accident, and so he is given another chance to his life in a fantasy world. Not only that, but he is also offered a wish. Toya ends up deciding that all he wishes for is to be able to keep his smartphone in this new fantasy world. And just like that, his new life begins, and before he knew it, girls were already struggling for his attention. Now, how will Toya adjust to all these new norms?
ものすごく気になります
秘密でもこれのおかげで2人にお礼ができたかな魔法を教えてくれたお礼
体力ゲージはゼロ寸前だけど勝てる気がしない
Number 8. Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody. Here we have a 30-year-old programmer who is constantly struggling to get his work done. He always has more work than he can handle and never gets enough sleep. But when he finally gets a chance to get some proper sleep, he wakes up in a different world. As it turns out, this world is a collective mashup of all the games he had ever debugged over the years. His physique has changed, he now looks a lot younger, and his nickname has also changed to the one he used to use while debugging those games. However, before he can fully grasp what happened, he is attacked by rather sneaking-looking lizard men. And that is the moment he realizes just how overpowered he is in this new world.
Benji だ。俺はお前みたいな変態野郎は好きじゃない。
レンジ、いいこと教えてあげる。私を変態呼ばわりして長生きできたやつは一人もいない。
Number 7. Grimgar, Ashes and Illusions. This one follows a more realistic kind of approach, and the story takes place in a world where survival is just as difficult as existing. All of a sudden, a distinct number of individuals end up in this fantasy world and can't seem to recall much about their past or backgrounds. However, one thing is clear, to survive, you have to become a member of the army, and in turn, get rid of anyone who poses a threat to the order of this world. The strong ones herd together while the weak are left behind. And it is this strange ragtag group who happens to be the group of main characters.
なんだよマイなんでお前そんなこと俺たち仲間じゃ
Number 6. The Rising of the Shield Hero. Getting Isekai to a fantasy world may not always be all fun and games, such as the story of a 20-year-old college student named Naofumi who was summoned to another world and was supposed to be their hero together with 3 other notable individuals when unfortunately he learned of the dark discrimination against a certain type of hero, was humiliated, and was then forced into a deep hatred. But what else can he do? He was humiliated in a very depressing manner. However, he soon finds companions who love and respect him for who he is. I'd say if you haven't watched this anime yet, you definitely should. The 2nd and 3rd season are already in production. You'll have a lot to look forward to.
リーフシールド
Alright guys, we're halfway through this video. Now let's talk about the top 5 picks. You've got to check these out.
ようこそ僕の世界へ
Number 5. No game, no life. I know, it's been like 8 years and we still have no news about a sequel. Well, I recommend reading the light novels for those who have already watched the anime and want more. As for those who haven't watched it yet, No Game No Life is a series that embodies the love of games, the technicalities that come with them, the spirit of competition, and the ambition to embrace it all. 2 prodigies named Sora and Shiro are brother and sister who end up in a world where the survival of the fittest is decided by games. Definitely a must-watch for any adventure fantasy fan out there.
人生なんて無理ゲーだ。マゾゲーだと何度となく思ったが、ついにバグった。
お、何これ
超クソゲー。やるんだ。やるんだ。やるんだ。やるんだ。そこにたどり着きたいのだ。
Number 4. Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? This story takes place in a world where the energetic streets of such a city as Orario are always full of life, especially a young boy named Bel Creno. He is a man who hopes to one day become the greatest adventurer in the land, and after he meets a goddess named Hestia, he comes a little bit closer to achieving his dream. Together with her, he explores deep dungeons and comes across several notorious monsters. One wrong move can mean instant death. So for a main character as optimistic as Bel Creno, how will things unfold? Number 3. Bitum. Bitum follows the story of 2 protagonists, how they came together and how they are going to survive. There is Ryota Sakamoto. He is an unemployed NEET who lives with his mother, and his only bragging point is that he is Japan's top player of an extremely popular game called Bitum. However, one day he suddenly finds himself in a stranded island with no recollection of how he got there whatsoever. He soon realizes that someone has recreated the game in real time, and now what's at stake is his own life. Then we have a girl named Himiko who goes through a devastating experience and also ends up on the same island. Now, how will the 2 survive, and how will their story continue?
嫌な予感が。まさか。
そんな目で見ないでくれよ。
Number 2. Excel World. The protagonist named Haruyuki is living a social nightmare. He is overweight and gets severely bullied by his fellow classmates, and because he doesn't really have a place at school, he finds solace in playing the online games that he loves so dearly. Until one day, he comes to the realization that all of his top scores have just been toppled by a user named called Kuyoryoki Hime. As it turns out, she is the student council vice president, and oddly enough, he gets an invitation to pay her a visit by coming to the student council room. And just like that, there's a friendly alliance between Haruyuki and Kuroyuhikime as their objective. It's something you'll have to find out for yourself.
今だ叫べファーストリンクファーストリンク
Number 1, Log Horizon. Log Horizon is perhaps the intellectual answer to Sword Art Online. It is similar in its premise, but vastly different in both its execution and narrative decisions. It is a concept-oriented series after all. The story begins with around 30,000 Japanese gamers just suddenly ending up within the world of popular RPG called Elder Tale. This happens after the game's last update, and now they have no way of logging out. Unfortunately, among them is a guy named Shiroe, who instantly analyzes the situation and starts acting accordingly. He is the main character, and he knows how important it is to improvise, adopt, and overcome. Things are about to get very interesting. Now, which of these animes have you already watched? What do you think about them? And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. Press that like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe, leaving a comment saying I subscribed, and I'll personally reply to your comment. Sword Art Online is about as popular as it can get, and there are many animes like it. So if you have another similar anime in mind, definitely share it with everyone in the comment section. Well then, I'll see you guys on my next video.